Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Goalloungetv Live, brought to you by TikTok South Africa and Discovery. We've got a special guest today. We've got an African legend, someone who used to play for my favorite soccer team in South Africa, Kaizer Chiefs, and then went on to play in the English Premiership with a team maybe I don't like as much, Leeds United. We've got Lucas, the Chief, Radebe. How's it, Lucas?
I'm alright, thanks. How are you, man?
I'm all good, thanks.
I don't like the fact that you didn't like Leeds, That is the best team that I've ever played for.
Unfortunately, I support the red team.
Don't mention the name.
Okay, unfortunately. It's all good. No, but thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
No, brilliant. I'm good, thank you.
I see you've got some grey hairs.
Yeah, no, it's hereditary, so there's nothing cynical about it. So I think people love it though. Everyone that come across say, you look good in grey, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. I take that as a compliment, which is good.
Okay, that's good. No, it's suit. But the grey hair doesn't take you away from making some amazing videos on TikTok. I saw you dancing and doing your thing on the promotional video. Is that something from your kids, or is that just something that you've got into yourself?
Actually, I was introduced to TikTok by my son.
Okay.
Ufense.
Yeah.
Ufense he claims that he's famous. That's what he said to me. He says, he can make me famous. And he helped me do that first TikTok. But by one way, I think it's absolutely amazing. I think it's taking the world, in storm. And you can see, man, that thing, if you start watching TikTok, you never stop.
No, that's true. It's very addictive. So what do you think, the role of such platforms like TikTok, helping fans to obviously share content about sports? What do you think of such platforms?
Especially, that we have COVID, we had lockdowns and that, and you spend most of the time on the devices, which is absolutely brilliant. It gave us that great opportunity to express yourselves in a way that you are comfortable. The way that we've never seen people, and I giving people opportunities to partner with different brands, which is nice. For me, I think it's a new platform, and it's a great opportunity for a young up and coming, especially as the technology is just moving fast.
Yeah. No, I think maybe Offense sees it as a way for him to make some money.
Yeah, he's primo. What? Check primo.
Yeah, because you find some TikTok superstars making some good money off it. So he's probably thinking, Dad, I can make you famous, but he doesn't know that maybe he doesn't know how famous you are.
He's playing with fire and he's trying to compete here. And there's no competition at all.
Yeah.
And I always tell him, But he's a great guy. I think he's tried to play football as well himself, and he couldn't make it. So he found something that he loves and that he's passionate about. He knows that he can spend time on it. And he comes to me and says, I've made a few bucks, through this. And I mean, it's fantastic. How many people have been sitting at home, not knowing what to do. Especially now, this is a new medium for them. When they're just sitting there, and it helps them to be innovative.
That's true.
Very, very innovative, and it's so impressive.
Yeah, no, it's important. It's very important. And I just want to touch on something that you just said there. You tried to be a footballer. You being a Discovery ambassador. How much do you motivate your kids, to be active and to participate in sports? I read somewhere that you come from a very sporting family.
Yeah.
Your brother and sisters were participating in netballs and football, and your late dad was a boxer apparently as well.
He says that.
He says that. He says, you don't know.
I've never seen the pictures as well.
You haven't seen anything.
He said that. But I'll take his word.
You'll take his word for it. No, that's fair. But do you encourage your children to get active?
Yeah, not just playing sport. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a good way as well, because you can imagine the mind and the body, goes hand in hand. It's not training, possibly eating healthy as well.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to exercise all the time. I played football, and football has introduced me to that. Which is great that as people say, well, you look only 36. I'm like, oh, thank you very much. But it's about taking care of yourself. You know, it's about participation. You know, for me, that's a big thing. You know, it relieves you from a lot. Especially, you know, as they grow up, they grow mischievous. They get into wrong friends, cycles and friends, and to be honest, I do try and do the best, especially as young as 2. I've got a 2-year-old already. When I'm at the gym, he's on the trampoline, jumping around, which is nice. It's another way of.
That's good, yeah. For another way for them to be active, yeah.
Which is great.
Okay, no, that's good. That's good to see that you're active. You know what I mean? It's important because, you know, I guess then you still have to keep in shape.
Yeah.
But I don't see you wearing a watch that counts your steps. How do you keep track of your steps? You know?
But still, you know, I just want to say this. You know how important it is, you know, especially after I've played the game and I've tasted, you know, the fittest of fitness, you know, top of my fitness, feeling absolutely amazing, on top of the world. And to be honest, the most important thing was life after football. Yeah. Because then you know that you can't carry that, you know, forever. But do a little bit of something just to keep that feeling on. Especially when people see you around, they're like, is that him? You don't want that. You want the same person.
They don't be confused if it's you or not.
Absolutely. But it's working, and it's great that it encourages youngsters and former footballers as well, because you know, you come around them, you chat about stuff. You know, some of them you can see that they've let themselves go a little bit, but they get encouraged. You know, when they see, when talking about it as well, which is very important. That's why Discovery is my number one.
That's good. That's great. And you know, you touch on something where you discuss with other former footballers, and you see yourselves obviously finding out that maybe someone is not doing something or is not doing so well. You know, what have you been doing? You know, life after football for Lucas. You know, I think, you know, you retired in 2005. You know, that's 16 years ago. You know, that's 16 years ago since you retired. You know? What have you been up to? You know, in the last 16 years. You know, what have you been getting involved in?
You know, that's the hardest thing. You know, that I had to accept. You know, that to retire, because I think that the whole of my career has been football, and I've enjoyed it, loved it. You know, for the fact that you got people following you, people watching you everywhere. It was absolutely amazing. You know, and when the curtains go down, it's so sad that when that first week after retirement, I still went back to training, and they kept pushing me back, telling me, no, you've done it, can't come back anymore. You know, and that's how hard it was to me. But you know, what I've learned a lot, especially now after football, it's looking after myself was brilliant. It was a big plus, because you attract different partners, you know, in a way that you can prolong your life after your career that you love, which is something that you love most. You know, it's the worst when you have to do something that you don't love, that you don't enjoy. But having that opportunity to do something, you know, partner with somebody else and getting paid for something you love is absolutely brilliant. I think that's why I partnered with different big brands. You know, and that we have something in common. You know, that we preach the same message like Discovery. It was absolutely amazing. And for me, it's football that has not just football, but the more on you as a person. You know, the values of discipline, the values of making sure that you look good, because that creates opportunities for life after football.
People want to associate themselves with you because they see you already, you standing there looking good, right? They don't just want to say, no, that person, I don't think that person is the right person for us to partner up with. So they look at you looking prim, proper, fit, and they're like, no, man, he's the right person to bring on board.
For sure. I mean, you play football for a reason. Yeah. You know, you don't play football to showcase. You know, you don't play football to win trophies. No, you play football to learn. Obviously, going forward, because we play, we have all this money, and then and the thing is that the worst part is that it can be your worst enemy. Going forward. But for me, to be able to discover with top brands, to be able to do charity work, and that's all in food. I wouldn't be here talking to you.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, without the career that you had.
Yeah, but it's brilliant to get this kind of opportunity to talk to the viewers out there about why we played football and what did football do. What have I learned through the game?
Yeah, no, perfect, guys. And also, please just drop your comments in the comment section, and we'll try ask those questions to Lucas during the course of this interview as well. So I think you spoke about the love for football, and I read somewhere that you started out as a goalkeeper first and foremost, right? And then you got kicked in the face, and you were kind of hiding it behind your parents' back to say that I'm still playing football when they sent you to Northwest, away from maybe the troubles of Apartheid and Soweto. Yeah. They sent you away to Northwest, and then you got kicked in the face, and your mom was so angry with you that you got kicked in the face. Just tell us a bit about that story and you being a goalkeeper initially.
Yeah, I didn't start in Botswana. Botswana started everything else.
Yeah,
but playing Kokasi.
Yeah.
In the crew, playing for little teams, Kokasi. We were talking about the changing rooms earlier on, we were changing, in the yard, and then run from there. But I think for me, that started everything, and that started, because actually, I think for me, football was a calling, and I truly believe in that, and with everything that had happened to me, through the game. I mean, it's been absolutely life-changing, not just to me, but to other people as well. But yes, I mean, and I'll encourage kids. I said, you don't want to limit yourself.
Okay, that's true.
Go and play football. If they say go in goal, go in goal. When you say right back, go right back. Play whatever position, and that's how I started. I've started playing everywhere. You kick the ball and run, kick the ball and follow. And I went to Botswana Lihurutse, to be exact. And that's where I've started because, I went there for education. And then I was getting bored because you can imagine the boy from Soweto in Lihurutse there.
I can imagine. Type of thing.
And it's absolutely boring. It's hot. So luckily the principal of the school was the director of one of the local teams. I asked them if I can train, not play.
Just train with them.
Just train with them. And then it happened that before their season started, they didn't have a goalkeeper.
Oh.
And I said to me, I'll go in goal. And that's how we started.
That's how you started.
Yeah. And I wasn't bad. I played against South Africa in the interstate games. For Botswana, absolutely brilliant, and I won some few awards as a goalkeeper, which was great until that moment.
Until your face,
they kicked me in the face in the semi-final of the Bob Safe Cup, and it was terrible. I had my tongue was cut. I broke my teeth at the back, in the front, my nose. So I missed about 2 months of school. You can imagine my parents were absolutely mad.
They sent you there for school and now you're missing school.
Yeah, it was quite hard. It was quite difficult, and they were away. So I didn't want them to know, but obviously they would. But I was in trouble for a bit, and even then they didn't even accept the fact that I have a talent in the game.
In the game, yeah. Wow.
They still said, actually, especially my mom still said, I want you to be a doctor, because we pride ourselves, especially as black people, we pride ourselves with a great career in the family. We're a big family, and luckily I was the only one that had made it to that level, which was absolutely brilliant by default.
As you said, there's a calling for you.
Yeah.
And at what point in time did they almost accept you or accept that as a career? Because what you find is that parents don't really accept it as being a career until you make money off it, right? Because how can it be a career if you don't make money?
Absolutely.
So then if they see the money that you're making, then they feel that it is a career. So at what point did your parents say that, okay, this is your career and we support you?
No, my mother never accepted. Because I think I don't want to say, but for her, football was never a career.
Wow.
Football was an excuse for parties and doing other things. And even when I played, I remember when I came to Kaizer Chiefs, my first season I won the player of the series, which for the first time I got 10,000 rands. 10,000 rands those days, 1990. 10,000 rand. We lived in a 4-room house. The first thing I did, the home.
Yeah, make sure it's sorted out.
Yeah, we redeveloped the house, extended it. The boys had the rooms for themselves. No sleeping in the kitchen anymore. Girls in the dining room. So we had bedrooms. Extended the house, do it nicely. But still, she never accepted that football is the thing. And I played for I played for the biggest team in the country at that point, and Kaizer Chiefs was absolutely amazing. We had the best players in the country playing for that club, and I was one of them. But with my parents, it was never
all about school.
It was about
I'm sure it was always like, we want you to be Dr. Khatev, Dr. Khatev, Dr. Khatev.
No, that's the thing, because I came back from Botswana after finishing, and they say, what are you going to do now that you're here? I said, no, they say they're going to put me in college. It never happened.
No, and imagine, we would have been robbed of such a great footballer,
Yeah, no, but to be honest, I think I've seen careers going because of that. Because, we grew up at a time when our parents used to guide us, into our careers, And to be honest, I think it showed something then that you'll never realize your career until take your own decision and account for it.
Yeah, take your own part. Yeah, that's
take
true.
your own part and
That's
account for it.
But
account for it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because you have to have an end result, right? That's
Exactly.
the most important thing.
For sure.
And I was in December. I was with the Discovery Walter Sisulu Soccer Challenge, right? Such a great tournament. A great initiative by Discovery. And TikTok came on board, and they were broadcasting the games. I had a chance to commentate on a couple of the games. What do you think? Such tournaments. What the role of such amateur football? There's other tournaments as well taking place in other countries. This was taking place in Soweto. There's one in Tembisa. There's one in Alex, and so on and so forth. What do you think is the role of such amateur tournaments? In giving the opportunity, because what you find is that you get a child, a kid who's 10, 12, who's interested in football, but always wants to go to an academy. Parents don't want to take them, and then they're playing for an under-17, tournament. Parents don't take it seriously, and then all of a sudden they may get an opportunity. So what do you think the role of such tournaments is?
Sello, it's absolutely amazing that I don't want to say it because I will sound jealous as I say, but we didn't have it.
That's fair.
But absolutely brilliant. I think if you look at it, especially in this day and age, kids have got a lot of options.
Yeah.
They've got devices that you can sit the whole day and watch movies and do whatever. Some of the kids in the township, there's malls that were built in the playing fields, and they ended up in the malls and ended up having friends that lead them astray and ended up, doing bad things, and it's terrible. But to have a brand that gives back to the communities, it's absolutely amazing. And I with Discovery, the Walter Sisulu tournament, it's one of those iconic tournaments in the township where you hear people talking about it. You know, I mean, people come to me and say, "Can I mean, guy 1,000 rand to go join a team go join a go tournament discovery?" And it's, hey, you cannot not help them. Yeah, you know, and I think that is that one thing that it's very important, that attracts, you know, the local talent, because it's an opportunity for them to start. Because even if they don't realize that, but it's an opportunity for them to start, because someone might be there out there, you know, scouting, not knowing. Because
That's true. That's true. There are people watching.
It has gained traction, because people follow it every year, and it's a pity that this year, you know, with the COVID,
we can't get the fans.
We couldn't get the fans, but to have that opportunity to watch it streamed live. I mean, they feel like Maradonas, you know, watching themselves. I mean, that's now technology and opportunities with TikTok, you know, because it gives such great pedestal or platform for the youngsters to be seen. Because even on TikTok, not just, the viewership.
It's incredible.
It's amazing, you know, and that's an opportunity that presents itself.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And you know, I want to pair the two, where you now talk about the fact that, you know, I think obviously you're from Soweto Deep Kloof.
Yeah.
You know, I read somewhere that you started a foundation in the name of your late mother. You know, in terms of what kind of work are you looking to do, or have you done already in terms of that foundation?
Yeah, you know, the one thing is that when I say, it's appreciation. You know, I think most of us, we haven't really appreciated what our parents have done for us. And for my mother, yeah, but not excluding my dad, but my mother was more hands-on.
You know what?
She was there. Daliko kasi, asala liruna. So busy. So she was a community builder. She was like, she had a church. She had a netball team, a football team. She had a choir. She was just involved, you know, in the community, and that's why I named the tournament, the foundation after her, the ET Radebe, which is Emily Tlaleng Radebe, and obviously some of the family members are involved. And I just wanted the legacy, you know, to still be there. You know, and again in the township, you know how is it in the township? You're gonna have to do something to keep the community alive.
That's true.
And I'm partnered with absolutely brilliant people, absolutely fantastic.
That's amazing.
Brands that helps us, you know, not just to organize, but to make sure that, you know, the families that comes, the gogos that comes, you know, they get something, you know, to go back home and show that, you know, at least, you know, and it encourages them to tell their kids to go and
do the same,
play football, go and watch. It's a good ground, you know, which for me, that's what I want to continue. You know, I've grown in that community where people struggle. People, you know, I know what they want. Most of the time, because even today I just go. I live in Brazil, I sleep in Brazil, I live in Soweto.
You live in Soweto, just checking what's going on.
Just checking what's going on. But it's the people that help you to get to where I am today. So that's why, you know, it'd be nice to, you know, maybe leave a little bit of that legacy here, or to give back to that community.
Now, that's important, because the most important thing is we need to remember what you did while you were here and what you got. You know what I mean? You know, and that's the only way you can do it in such foundations, you know.
Yes.
And now, a boy from Soweto, Deep Kloof, leaves South Africa, and then he goes to the other side of the world. He goes to Yorkshire. He goes to Leeds. You know, in the 90s, he goes to Leeds in the 90s with the late Phil Chipa Masinga. You know, I heard actually the fact that you were only signed because they wanted to sign Phil. And you were almost like a sweetener to say that, hey, Phil, you won't be lonesome keeping company in Yorkshire, but you ended up having the more illustrious career at Leeds United. Tell us more about your, you know, You know, that's almost like a culture shock,
Yeah.
right? It was a culture shock, right? Because it's in the
absolutely.
90s, you in Soweto, and then now you're going to Yorkshire, you're
Never
going to
been.
Leeds, and now you've
Yeah.
never been, you know, and
It's a. I think, you know, that's why I was saying that maybe I was meant to play football and to make an impact. But for me, it's the people that have made that happen.
yeah.
I mean, great respect to where I come from. Wolves, ICL Betzley, Urute, Kaiser, you know, at Kaiser Chiefs, and then now Howard Wilkinson, who took that gamble as a coach to say, no, bring him. Even if they haven't seen me play, they've seen the field play.
So they signed without having seen you play.
Yes, the chief scout that I've spoken to recently, Jeff Slade, great that he was alive. He's still alive. He said to me, we went to watch South African football, we went to watch film on the Sinka. I'm like, yeah, okay. I said, what happened? He said, no, but they told me about someone else, but you were not there. Because they went to Australia and play in Australia, and I was injured. And they came to watch a game in South Africa against New Zealand or somebody. I wasn't playing, and they ended up taking film. And they didn't know. I think for me, they didn't have videos or
There was no footage of you.
there's no footage at all. And then they just got me over, say, but you know, the worst thing is that he'll play, he'll babysit. At least he'll feel company, you know, because to be honest, you said it, that it's a culture shock.
Yeah.
We've never had an opportunity since then to go and play abroad. You know, even the football in this country that we've watched on TV. I mean, I've watched the Italian 90, and you were like, it was a dream. But to get to Yorkshire, where the weather was different, the food and everything, you know, I mean, it was something else. It was something else, but, you know, obviously it was a difficult time, you know, for both actually. For South Africa was those time of reconstruction,
Yeah.
you know, everything, you know, we've just been invited back into international football. The national team now has been formed. And when I got to Leeds, I mean, the weather was a challenge. I mean, the weather, the food, there was no public place.
There was no
dry place. No, no, dry. You can see the sun. That's what I'm saying. Just go to the gate and just play the braai out, come out. There was nothing like that, but it's pure football.
Yeah.
It's everything is new.
It's a religion.
No, I'm telling you, I enjoyed playing football as a career, you know, full time. It was even at KG, it wasn't full time. I got 4, checks, I got 6.
I understand, yeah.
You know, but there, in the morning, in the afternoon, they grind you to the ground. You got to compete week in, week out in the conditions that is very hard.
No? And you know, I think I always, you know, people always have debates, you know, who's the best South African to ever play in the Premier League, you know.
What?
And I think your name always pops up because I think the legacy you created at Leeds United, you know, you captained Leeds United, you played in the Champions League for Leeds United, you played in the UEFA Cup, you played in the Premier League in the great Leeds sides with Mark Viduka, Harry Kuehl, you know, your Alan Smiths, you know, the great players, you know. So I think, you know, people look at you and say, wow, this is the guy actually who laid the foundation for South African footballers to play in the Premier League, you know. Because I think obviously after that, everyone then looks up and says, no, you know, your Mark Fishers came to the Premier League, your Andrew Aronses, your Sean Barclays, they all looked up to you to say he's obviously putting the groundwork, you know, and your cult hero status at Leeds United, and the nickname obviously that you got, the Chief, you know, I think that is something that shows, you know, in terms of how much of a footprint that you left at Leeds United, you know. How do you feel about the way you've been, I don't want to say idolized, but the way they've paid dues to what you have contributed to the team of Leeds United, where people are naming their children after Lucas Radebe and saying,
Good,
you know, my son's name is Lucas after Lucas Radebe. How does that make you feel?
It's good that they're not mine. I always say that you live with me for the longest time. But I always say, because some of the guys, you know, the great thing is that it's the banter between the players and stuff, and the players will say, because there was like a township where we used to go, like predominantly black.
Yeah.
Okay, it's mixed, but black. And they say some of the guys, they still, because I still talk to them today. Some of my ex-players, they say, we saw a boy with dreadlocks running around.
It looks like you.
And I'm like, give them £5 if you see them. That shows that it was not just because people had that thing when we play football, you know, we are like monks, you know, we don't have a life. This life we have to live, and you get to know your teammates, you get to know opposition, you get to know the community you live in, you know, you get to adapt and acclimatize, which, you know, everyone surrounding you makes it easy for you to do it, coming from South Africa. And to be honest, it wasn't just about football.
Yeah.
You know, what I've learned, there was a lot of people, actually even before that, because when I arrived, there was a history of Jerry Francis. There's a guy called Jerry Francis, South African guy, who played for Leeds.
Oh, yes.
There was a guy called Albert Johansson, who was from South Africa, Benoni or somewhere. He played for Leeds, even he's the first black guy to play in the
Premier League.
In the FA Cup.
Yeah, the FA Cup.
Old FA Cup.
Yeah.
And absolutely brilliant. You know, and I think for us to come there, because I was unlucky, me and Phil, not to see him, because he was still alive, living in Leeds, but not in good health. And died maybe like a few weeks after the guys arrived. Yeah. When we got there, and it was heartbreaking. But again, we felt that there's a legacy there, you know. And that's how they took us in, you know, with the Yorkshire. You know, with the Yorkshire people, we had to learn to speak. We had to learn to listen
with that accent that they have.
And the worst part is that there's Irish guys there, the Scottish, and they're like, come on. You know, when they speak, slow down.
So we can understand.
We want to listen. We want to hear what you guys say, because they couldn't. Even when we speak, our African accent, like very wrong. But it was amazing. I mean, we had a great laugh. You know, and once it gets to the grind, it was tough. I wouldn't say so. I think it was hard, but benefited a lot, you know, for my own good. The training, I mean, I wasn't used to training in the morning and in the afternoon. It was terrible. It was running, it was playing football, it was the weather conditions. It was snowing, it was raining, it was cold. And you're staying away from home for a long time, and that's one thing that helped me to settle down with it, bringing then my girlfriend over. You know, and I've always said to these young boys here, I said, if you go overseas,
go with someone.
Take someone, but get married. Otherwise, you can't just take someone.
Just take someone.
No, about get married.
Get the ring.
Yeah, get the ring. But that helps a lot to stabilize you and actually concentrate, you know, in the game, because it can be brutal.
Yeah,
it can be brutal, but you learn a lot, you know, from the Yorkshire people. You know, their culture, their tradition. You know, football is the religion, and you know they settle well until I get my own place. And to be honest, with the injuries that I've had, I never thought I'd spend that long. With the weather conditions that we had to endure, it was quite difficult, but ended up staying there for 12 years.
Wow. And I read somewhere where Stuart Dallas was the first player since you to make 250 appearances in all competitions for Leeds United. So imagine, since 2003, 2005, for 16 years, there hasn't been a player who has reached 250 appearances for Leeds United. That shows.
Imagine, eh?
Oh, I don't
And
know.
that's why I had like a testimonial. I was one of the first players in a long time to have a testimonial.
Wow.
To be awarded the testimonial, which was absolutely amazing. I mean, that's how. I mean, my contribution was just to play football, but we again, as I said earlier on, it wasn't just football. It was what you bring to the club. And luckily, I was from South Africa. People wanted to know how did I end up in England, you know, coming from Soweto, because obviously everything that was that they knew about South Africa, Soweto is riots,
Exactly.
apartheid,
And all that. Yeah.
and all that. So you know, that created a platform for me, you know, to have a program at the club called Learning with Lucas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was derived by some of us, staff by me, and some of the players and the officials at the club was absolutely amazing, because it was right inside in the stadium, and everyone, the youth, the school kids, after and we were learning about me, and we were learning about the number 5 jersey, you know, learning about South Africa. So I had to tell them the languages and how it was, because they were raising good questions as well. So I had to do the young offenders, which was very scary as well, because you go inside with them, the questions were hard.
So what's your current involvement with Leeds United?
As an ambassador, actually, at the moment we're talking, because, you know, the amazing thing is that after all those years and all the changes that happened at the club, you know, there's not, maybe I know 2 people now.
Wow.
Everyone.
There's been a lot of changes.
There's a lot of changes, and luckily, you know, we still kept that the relationship, which for me, it's something that I took with the brands that I partnered with. That you rather have a relationship with, just to get to know me better, get to do things even better. So the chairman, Andrea, is married. He married to a South African woman.
Okay.
Which it's another
link. You know, it's always a forever link with South Africa. Yeah.
Always, and now because of COVID, I was unable to go and watch, because I was going there every year, twice a year, as the chairman's visitor, you know, and what a reception. Always, I mean, I feel that's my home.
It's your home.
My second home.
Yeah,
you know, and I've made friends. My family was made comfortable, and you know, acknowledging the fact that I wasn't just there for football, for the money, you know, and appreciating that, you know, they've got their own way to show it, you know, and it's the songs they sing, you know, it's absolutely amazing.
You feel the love.
You feel the love. So at the moment, what we're trying to do is because they wanted me to be an ambassador for the club, you know, but they wanted me to stay there. So we're still trying to see
how you can.
We can leverage, or we can actually see if there's any synergies that we can exploit from there.
Okay, no, amazing stuff. And I think, and then, you know, you played in a couple of Afcons. You know, one Afcon 1996, captain Bafana to obviously 2 World Cups. You know, so just in terms of your journey with Bafana, unfortunately, Bafana isn't in Afcon right now. You know, have you been watching the games?
I've been watching the games, and it's so sad not to see the Bafana or South Africa. I mean, it's very strange. It's one of the countries that has really achieved a lot in a short period of time. You know, through football, World Cup, Afcon '96, as you say, and to be honest, not to be there, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate. And do you have any team that you're thinking in the last 4 that you think will win the tournament?
You know, I watched it closely. You know, it's for me. One thing is that, you know, the passion of African footballers to make football, or to make actually because you must realize that we've always had problems when it comes to Africa Cup of Nations, to be released.
Yeah.
But it was our responsibility to raise the value of that competition so that they can accept that this is one of the best tournaments that we have, and that gives players an opportunity to play overseas, some of them. But I mean, it's, for me, I mean, I've seen great talent. I mean, I've seen players that we haven't heard of, with countries that we've never heard of.
That's true.
Gambia, especially
Comoros.
Not known for football. Comoros, those are holiday. Go and chill and go on holiday, But to see them competing in Afcon, I mean, it's the 33rd edition, I think. It's absolutely amazing. That shows that, there is development, there is the gap is not as far now. Because most of them, if you look, even Equatorial Guinea, I mean, those teams were actually not just walkovers. They were
fighting.
They put in the effort, and it's great to watch that in that aspect. And for the fact that our football is not the same, because if you watch South African football, it's the physique. The physique.
That's true. They're taller than the both of us.
They're not just tall, but they're absolutely muscles. But to see, that the clubs now respect the fact that they can release the players to play in the Afcon, and let people in Africa see their role models. I think it's not just great, but I think it's for those youngsters to see that, it's inspirational for them.
No, it definitely does. It gives some hope to certain players to say they can also obviously showcase their talent on such a broader stage, Just want to touch on some Q&As from the viewers. We've got some viewers that were very excited, about you coming on. I was excited as well. Come on. But so we've got one here from Temba Zulu. So Temba Zulu asks, he says, "Good day, Chief." Just to give you that respect. But he's asking, would you get involved in football administration? So similarly to what we've just seen now, where Samuel Eto'o has taken over of the Cameroon Federation, is that something that you'd be interested in getting involved in SAFA?
Play football for a reason, and I've always said that I would want to give back. But for me to give back is not by being a coach for club level, but maybe national team. But the most important thing is football at the highest level, where we can produce players. Yes, I do want to get involved because I'm the product of a South African Football Association, and I feel that I'm obligated to have a role, have a role in making sure our football is successful.
No, that's great. That's great. So I'm guessing we'll see you in the 2023 SAFA elections, right?
2023,
It's soon. I want to give you pressure. That's good. And then we've got another one here from, seems like probably a Nigerian supporter, right? The Nigerian supporter says, "Who was the most difficult Nigerian player you ever faced in the Premier League?"
Wow. Yeah, that's a good question. Normally I get the other way around. Who's the most Premiership toughest opposition? But played against great teams. I mean, Egypt was one of the best, because when we played Egypt, it was very difficult. When we played, our rivalry, Nigeria, it was a big fight. And I think one of the best games that I've ever had is the final, when we played Tunisia '96. I think Mehdi Slimani he gave me a runaround. He gave me problems. I think I performed out of my skin on the day, especially knowing that, there's a lot at stake. It was absolutely amazing. Mehdi Slimani was one of the toughest opponents that I've faced. I mean, you still have JJ or Kocha, you still have
You got a lot of quality players. A lot of quality players.
Yeah, I think they made me one of the best defenders, you know, which is absolutely brilliant competing with them.
And then we've got one here from Damien De Freitas, who says, where do you think Bafana could improve most?
For me, I think it's not much about Bafana. I think it's much about the federation as a whole. You know, once we can get a proper structure where it can breed success, not just to the team, but to the coaches first, and then to the team, because we've got the talent, we've got the players. You know, the only thing we need is to make them believe, you know, make them perform to the best of their ability to get the proper results. And not only that, but continue, you know, producing players playing abroad, because we were in 96 the best team because most of us played abroad.
Correct, yeah.
And bringing that experience back was absolutely amazing. That's why the Afcon today, it's what it is, because of those players who are playing abroad coming together and giving that experience. It's absolutely amazing.
No, that's great. That's great. We've got another one here from Klori. So he asked something more related to your time at Kaizer Chiefs, right? And he says the 3 most difficult players you played against in the National Soccer League, but specifically the strikers while you were playing in the National Soccer League, the old PSL. Who were the 3 most difficult forwards that you played?
Klochi, I hope it's old enough to remember.
and by the way, he's a Mamelodi Sundowns fan. So he probably wants you to say someone in Sundowns.
No, but to be honest, it was Mamelodi United. Or it was Mamelodi. It wasn't Sundowns. Yeah, it was Sundowns. But I mean, because you knew our rivalry. You had Orlando Pirates. I mean, absolutely brilliant players. But we had teams like Amazon. We had teams like Umtata Bucks, Mongi Khola, you know, all those guys. We had George Denley from Amazulu, which was hard guys. Aces, you know, with Ben's sister Monica at Aces. And I think if I can mention 3, Action Shimbala is one of them.
Okay.
Action Shimbala, and then Mambosh Mudau with Sundowns. I can remember when he scored. You know how short he was?
He's very short. He was going underneath your legs.
He raised up between me and Brix Mudau to score.
Wow.
Against Kaizer Chiefs. And he was handful. But Chipa Masinga was handful.
As well.
Yeah.
He was a Jomo. He
was a Jomo Cosmos. He scored a hat-trick against Kaizer Chiefs. It was hard. We were hard at work. So Phil Masinga, the late Phil, was one of those players. Action Shimbala, Ntunda, put those 2. And then I think, you know, those guys that took Mtata Bucks, Mongi Khula,
they were dangerous.
They were very dangerous, especially away from in their den. They were hard.
We've got an interesting one here from Yorkshire. You know, this guy, his name is Jason Liu. He says, Chief, do you remember the Chinese takeaway you went to whilst you played for Leeds in Weatherby? My parents owned it, and you used to come almost every week. It is a house now, and then he sent those crying emojis. You know, the fact that it's a house now. Do you remember this particular Chinese restaurant that he's talking about?
You know, those guys were actually, they knew me personally, you know, with my family, because I used to enjoy that. Even if I go there, I even went there, I had to call first before going. You know, they will do that for me. They will even bring, because it wasn't far from home, and I clearly, I mean, when you're talking about them like that, I can close my eyes, I can picture the mother who was the dad. I mean, they were so humble souls, absolutely brilliant. The food was top class.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. It seems like, you know, that community feeling in Yorkshire was obviously there, and as you said, it seems like everyone just knew everyone, you know. And you just walk around freely. I'm sure you didn't have people probably have bodyguards now. You guys didn't have bodyguards back then.
It was brilliant because people were appreciating us, but we didn't have the chance to mingle that much. because of the schedule that we had and the training. The only thing we did is go to training, come back, sleep. Yeah. Training, sleep, travel. Yeah. So it was difficult, but when we have the time to mingle, it was absolutely amazing. You feel the love, for those fans. It's when the club was buzzing, the city was on fire.
And then we've got one from Nico here saying, if you could change something in your football past, what would it be and why?
Should be playing now. Should be playing. Isn't playing now. Yeah.
You should have retired.
You know what I mean? Oh man. But yeah, no. I think the way everything's panned out. I wouldn't change anything. If I get another opportunity, I'll go again to Leeds United.
Okay.
And exactly what happened, I'll do the same. I think there's other things that I didn't have control of, which were the downs in the game, which was hard. But some of them, for me, it helped me showcase my character and made me even stronger and look at life with a different perspective, which helped me, especially in life today.
That's amazing. Then we've got here from Bebe. Bebe asks, what is your best advice towards today's future soccer stars to focus more on physicality or ball control, or both?
Don't forget where you come from. That will make you think and think when you go in the field of play, how did you get there? Because you only get that opportunity once. To be one of the best to make an impact. Yeah, because you don't just play football for the love of it, but you play football to make a difference.
Wow, that's interesting. And I think if you think of the way you represented your family and where you come from, and you showcased your talent, and I think that's probably what pushed you to do what you did in the game, because you don't see as many South Africans playing overseas now, which is probably to the detriment of our national team, right?
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure you see players. I saw an article once where you told Percy, or you saying to Percy Tau, please stay at Brighton and stay and fight for your place at Brighton, but now there's a different move. What do you think of the move of players going to Egypt? Peter Musamani is the coach of Al Ahly. Then we've got your Percy Tau going to Al Ahly as well. And then now, yesterday or today, Afcon from Cape Town City just moved to an Egyptian club as well. So what do you think of that move, where they're moving to the north of Africa, where maybe it's a bit more, it is more competitive, it's also a religion there.
It's closer to Europe. So.
Closer to Europe, or maybe the eyes of Europe are looking there closer. Yeah,
they're looking close.
So what do you think of the change of them moving to Egypt, brother?
I think the one with Percy Tau is different, because he went there and then he came back. Yeah, and for me, he was brilliant. I think he had, for me, yes, it was a great opportunity for him, and he did his best. But the move to come back again, I think, looking at the age, sometimes you look at the age, because in football you get the opportunity once, because you make a living, from the sport, and possibly looking at it, in that sense, and for players to come here to play in Europe, I think, for me, it's the best thing to do. Go through, because at the end of the day, you play in the Afcon, you play in Africa, you played qualifying, you travel to Africa, and it makes you realize that what is happening in Africa in the game, it's tough. And for me, yes, I will say it's a great thing that players, they should be given opportunity to explore, opportunities to go to play in Africa.
It's true.
Get the knowledge, get the experience, get the strength. And then from there, I mean, you can see people like Sadio Mane, people like, there's many African players playing, not just in the UK, but in France, Spain, everywhere. And that opportunity can come from there.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, just to wrap up, where does the future lie for Lucas? In the next coming years, what should we be watching out for in terms of what your next moves are, your next steps in terms of what you're trying to get involved in?
Obviously now doing charity. They say charity begins at home, but I think you think more now about the kids, the family, and for me, you want to get involved where you'll be appreciated, where you can make a difference, and give the 2 cents of experience and yes, it's brilliant that I have the brands that I have, because I feel a little bit strong that I've got great people that support me, in different programs into the community. But again, I think that can actually escalate and take me to the level where I want to contribute, in football. And this is what I want to achieve, before I can call it a day.
Okay, that's amazing. I think we're so lucky to have you as a legend. I think you find now in the Premier League, every team that wins the Premier League has an African player, and I think it started somewhere, and it started with a crop of African players that came through yourselves. Kuba Yabeni, all those players that obviously came into the Premier League, and now every team that wins the Premier League has to have an African player. You can think about them, your Mahrez, your Salahs, your Manes, your Mendy's, all of these players are playing in Afcon, are playing in Africa first and foremost, and then being exported to the Premier League. And I think it's only through the greatness that you have shown as a footballer, and obviously shown your talent, and to trust in African players that they can actually contribute to those teams.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think for us it's a national service. People that's fought hard for their country. We played football at a time when our role models wasn't footballers, but people like Madiba, who you looked up to. And once you go into that field of play, you get that kind of opportunity. You grab it in both hands, and you as well want to make a difference. And surely we inspire the up-and-coming youngsters as well, to realize that there's future after football. And obviously they've got to look after themselves while they're still playing.
That's perfect. So I just want to thank you, Lucas. Thank you for coming on to today's live with Goalloungetv, brought to you by TikTok South Africa and Discovery. We just want to thank you, and as I said, you've obviously left a legacy already, and continue to leave that legacy with us in South Africa, and to continue to do great things.
Great medium. I've just embarked on it, and I'm gonna get more. I'm gonna do more TikToks, and I think it's great opportunity, to showcase, to show your talent, and to showcase, what normal people do, to have fun. And talk to the people, talk to the world, and surely, there will be synergies and relationships, from those, which is absolutely a great opportunity, for the future.
Oh, that's great. Oh, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to like and follow Goalloungetv on all social media platforms, especially on TikTok. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Sweet.